Quackadoodle, what is up, fellow birds of the spiral? It's your friend and pal Fearsome here, back at again with more Pirate 101 content, and for this video, we'll be discussing everything Privateer, so let's get right into it. Alright, so here's a look at my hats. Pretty much one hat that you'll be using for everything, basically, is Corrupted Warlord's Headgear. Now, you can get the level 65 version, 60, or 55 version. It really doesn't matter which one you get because this is an ability-based game. Get that Revive and Valor Fortress hat by farming the Tower Moon Manchu as a privateer. Alright, now, if this is a good point to mention this, privateer is probably the worst class you can farm your gear on, for the most part. Tower of Moon Manchu, of course, an exception. But there is a coat called Blood's Coat that gives Blood's Flames. Yes, it might be nice to have, but I would not be farming on Privateer in the first place. Alright, now we have that out of the way. Let's have a look at the other coats. We have Socho's Kit, mostly good for 4v4. We have Assassin's Strike Robe, Imperator's Panoply. This here robe is pretty much the standard in most situations. We have this robe here, Silver Muda armor, Revive, big guns, nice to have as well. And we have this here Olympic armor with Vicious Charge. You could just get the one at Bazaar just as easily. I just happen to have this one in hand. So if you guys want to know where to get the gear in this video guide, I put a link down below in the description. You just very interactive. Just click and you'll find like location to farm all this. Most of the stuff actually drops in group chests. Just farm in a group of 4. The best advice I can give you when you're farming for hats, boots, and a robe, of course. So I will move straight on to boots. As far as boots go, you have pretty much 3 options. Of course, minus this piece of gear, as I said in my last guide, for farming only, frozen type boots only for farming. That's the only time it's good. Alright, now this pair of boots I use pretty much for 4v4s. Fiddler's Armor does kind of prevent a Bladestorm chains if used correctly and allows you to enjoy the benefits of elusive and turn the tide while having a decent amount of protection on. Alright, enough with that. And let's have a look at the Corrupted Warlord boots. Valor's Fortress and big guns, really nice to have. This is pretty much the standard for privateers in most situations. But there is one interesting option you could go for. You could go for the Gladiator Gators, or you could go for the boots in the Skull Island Bazaar that give basically the same power. And honestly, it doesn't matter. Like, you get like a little more agility, accuracy, dodge, and some other stuff. But we're really after the Walk in Darkness. And the only time I really use this is versus Musketeers and occasionally Swashbucklers. But it's basically to avoid a hidden Assassin Strike or Overwatch or something like that. So very situational. But those are your options as far as boots go. Alright, moving right along to weapons. Really good weapon to have. This is pretty much standard for all privateers, especially in 1v1 matches. You want to have the Surge of Technomancy weapon, aka the Haywire Warmage Regalia. You can get the version that is Stabby Staffy as well. It honestly doesn't matter which one you get. But Surge of Technomancy removes whatever buff is cast first at a range of 5. And it does a bit of damage too, so really nice to have on hand. A couple of other options, I'll just basically scroll over them. This for if you're with a team of Buccaneers with Whales might notice it's a strength-based weapon. It gives Valor's Rampart. So if you're in a 4v4 with a lot of Buccaneers, this might be a good option for you. Here is another option that may work in a pinch if you, for some reason, are not getting the Haywire Warmage Regalia. This here, Haywire Armada Halberd is a good substitute. Fall Champion Spyglass. This is not going to be useful in most situations. It's usually banned in PvP tournaments. It might be useful in rank PvP. It is really, really powerful though. So, alright, that pretty much covers weapons. We'll go straight into eye patches. Eye patch wise. Patch of Forceful Smiting, the best 4v4 eye eye patch, probably really good in PvE as well. You tend to get a lot of big guns anyway, so this is not really needed. Don't worry if you do not have it. There are plenty of other options. You have eye patch of Faithless Wrath, another good eye patch, good in a lot of situations. But the best eye patch for most 1v1 situations here is this Death's Bargain. It gives Soul Shroud. Basically, if you're below half health, it it basically gives you a little bit of health when you lose, health. That's essentially what it does. All right, Eye Guard of Deflection, last choice. For some reason, if you aren't getting any of these other eye patches, Eye Guard of Deflection does heal Leviathan's Call, which is better than nothing. So that's pretty much all I have to say about eye patches. As far as totems go, you have a couple of options, but this is pretty standard. This Bubble of Manchu, as I mentioned before. The level doesn't matter. You can get a level 60 version or a level 55 version of this, but the important thing is that it gives Failures Fortress and Revive. So that's most of the time what you will be using, unless you're going for a troll set. But I'm not going to cover that in this guide here. All right. For charms, you actually have three very good options. You have Special Branch Ribbon with an Assassin Strike. You have Sprocket Key, and you have Right Hand Strand. Most people go for the Special Branch Ribbon with the Assassin Strike, and for some reason, if they aren't getting it, because it is a little bit of a rare drop, they will sub in Right Hand Man Strand, or however you say that. But the important thing is that it goes big guns and revive. This here, Sprocket Key is very situational, being usually the support character in a 4v4 and or a 3v3, I should say, or 2v2 for that matter. Purge Magic is particularly useful for privateers because they have their turn first. Purge Magic removes all positive buffs in a 3x3 area. So it removes forts. So if a Buccaneer charges with a bunch of forts on, they can just purge it off, and everyone else on your team can kill them. Basically what it does. Really, really good power to have in some situations. So that pretty much covers what privateers have as far as their charms go. We will move straight on to rings. Here we go. The standard ring is Brain Thief's Ring. Village Fortress, big guns. Super, super important to have. Really, really good. And last but not least, let us take a look at the pet. What's really good to have on a pet is pretty much relentless. For team battles, you want Rainbow Bless. Regroup is really good to have. What is most important on the privateer pet, though, in general, is having some solid hits. A backstab's really good to have. A brutal charge is even better to have. I don't have a pet with brutal charge at the moment. I think I put it on my musketeer, but having brutal charge and backstab is ideal on a privateer pet. An extra elusive is nice. Relentless is really great to have as well. And if you guys need help with pets, just comment down below. I do live stream pretty regularly, and I give out pet morphs. I farm gold every week, and I go out every Friday at 5 p.m. Central Time. At least that's currently my schedule, and I make it my objective to help improve the pets in this community. So if you need help, then either myself or someone else on the stream will probably get you a good morph as far as privateer pets go. All right, well, that covers all the gear on privateer. I guess it's time to move on. All right, now, what do you want to train on privateer? First off, how do you want your deck set? This is a standard 4v4 deck. Now, why do I have my critical buff on the second page? The reason I have my critical buff on the second page is I have a lot of experience in 4v4 matches and 3v3 matches, and without fail, Enduring Discipline doesn't work. It doesn't increase my chance of getting a critical. I don't know what is wrong, I'm just telling you what actually happens. Now, on paper, this here Enduring Discipline would be a very good buff. But that is the reason I have it on the second page. A lot of you may disagree, but that is my personal reason. Alright, moving right along. Battle Zeal, very, very good. Should be on the first page in most situations. A couple of bombs, very nice to have at the beginning of a game, especially if you get first turn, especially in team battles. Veiler's Fortress, you want to have as many of those up front immediately, particularly in a 4v4. Right after that, your Veiler's Armors, some nice group heals. Of course, this Surge of Technomancy, your Focus Fire is kind of nice to have as well. Kind of helps you chew through someone who has a protection on, a very underrated power. Very few people know how to use it effectively, but that's kind of what this guide is about. Regroup, all your revives. Now, in a 1v1 situation, you want your forts to be running downwards and spread out. Like you want your first fort on number 3, your second one on 8, your third one on 13, and your next one on 18, and so on down to the next page. Same thing with revives, your first one on 4, your second one on 9, your third one on 14, and your fifth one right here, well, your fourth one, I should say, right here on 19. So you would have your powers much more evenly distributed. And of course, you would have your Assassin Strike a little further up as well. Alright, well, that's pretty much the powers. I'm going to show you what you need to train as Privateer. Everything you're seeing right here, you could train this Ghost Whale, kind of nice to have for late game. You could also train Kraken's Coils, Mighty Charge, also good for late game. And let's see, what else? Oh, Sneak Attack from the Swashbuckler trainer. And I think that pretty much covers it. We'll move straight on to the talents. You can see everything I train. Big Choppy, Light Armor, Rough, Heavy Armor, Fast 2. Fast 2 is a must for all classes. Cannot stress that enough. Spooky 2, also really good to have. And here are some other things you need to train. Staffy 2, Smashy 2. That's mostly so you can train other stuff. Witch Hunter, really great to have. Let's see, what else? What else? Relentless, definitely a must. Definitely train Relentless. There's no reason why you should not train Relentless. And that does cover all the powers, how you need to have them set up, and what you need to train. We have companions to tackle next. All right. Now, it really depends how to set your companions. Like, there's not one setup for Ratbeard. There's not one setup for Emmett. I'm just going to show you what I have my most important companions set to. Now, Ratbeard is a companion that is very tanky and that is very good at blocking people's paths. That's pretty much his whole gig. He has Hold the Line. He has First Strike 3 so that he doesn't get killed by a hidden attack very easily. He has Repel Borders 3, reduces accuracy, great in a lot of situations. Now, you could go for Hold the Line 3 instead of Repel Borders 3. You could go for the Hold the Line 3, Blade Storm 3. First Strike 3 setup instead. But this is what I have him set up for right now, and he's been pretty handy. Yeah, really good counter buck, counter swashbuckler. Solid companion. I use him in most of my 1v1 matches. Next we have Commander Emmett, counter buccaneer companion, as I have him set here. The reason I do not have True Grit on this companion is because he's will based, and sometimes True Grit will get him killed. So it's better if he has no reactionary epics except for the one he initially comes with, which is of course Return Fire. So quick look at what I have him set for. Contessa, another really great companion because of her Gallant Defense as a utility. Old Scratch. Bonnie Ann, counter musketeer companion, really great to have. Pepe Detorteau, kind of situational. I don't use him too often. Goro, same deal. He's all right. Now I would recommend having Hold the Line instead of the third Relentless, but other than that, he's pretty much set the way he should be. Nausica really depends on what you want to use her for. Mine is half chaining, half counter musketeer. Some people put grit 3 on their musketeer on their Nausica so that they can stun, but I don't really like that very much. I like to have the double tap. So it depends on what you use your Nausica for, really. I guess I'll cover. No, hold on, Exeter. Exeter really great to have. Double otters in 4v4s is so annoying. You'll find out if you fight any of us, but yeah. Here's a look at some other companions. Now I did not do the promotion quest for Lucky Jack Russell, but now you kind of get an idea of how I have most of my important companions. I did forget El Toro. No, I cannot forget El Toro. You pretty much have El Toro set the same way across the board. That's his setup. Jane Canary. Let's have a look at her. I got a lot of companions on this pirate. Wagyu Sanjuro, counter swashbuckler. Super good, actually. Temujin. Pretty much the standard Temujin setup right there. Shen and Zang Cha are both set pretty much the same way. What's important is they have Blade Storm 3, a Relentless 2, Second Chance, and First Strike 1. Now, you don't want multiple First Strikes on this companion because he's mostly for chains. Really bad to have multiple First Strikes because it usually gets him killed. So, just a little bit of information for you. So, these are basically the same companions. I just, way back in the day, I bought both, so. I guess Marchiones is the only one left. I don't use her very often either. And yeah, that covers companions, guys. And I think that covers everything. Almost everything. We have one more thing that is more important than anything else. I'm telling you guys how you get how you set your companions. What to train. What gear you probably want to have on hand. But what's most important is the privateer playstyle. Privateers excel in the late game. That is where they excel. They excel in two places, the late game in 1v1s and as a support in team battles. With this many Valor Fortresses and this many heals, privateers make easily the best supports in the entire game. Okay? So, that's pretty much all there is to privateer. Good luck, guys. I hope this guy was helpful. Please share, like, all that good stuff. Anything, you think will help if you thought this was useful or helpful. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace out for now.